All right, so I've been getting a lot of requests recently to talk about my outlook on the Florida Gators heading into this football season. I've got a lot of Florida Gators fans following me on here on YouTube, TikTok, and such. And first and foremost, I appreciate y'all. I really do. And it's my honor and pleasure to provide my breakdown of the Florida Gators going into this season in this video. If you're new here, please subscribe. We're building this era community brick by brick, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. I really appreciate it. So I'll be honest here. I think Florida is in a considerably advantageous position going into this season, especially compared to last season. Last season, y'all, if you just place yourself back in July or August of 2024, it was a pressure cooker down in Gainesville. Immense pressure on Billy Napier and his staff to deliver, to get shit done. And I'm not at all saying that there's no pressure this year, but it's definitely been somewhat alleviated because Florida went on a run in November last season. Very rough start. That Miami loss, one of those mortifying losses that I've seen Florida take in these past, I'd say, 5 years. The Texas A&M loss. There are some demoralizing losses that Florida had early in the season last year, and they seemed dead in the water, and it seemed inevitable that Billy Napier was going to get fired at the end of the season or before the season ended. However, there was a certain point in the season where Florida's mentality just shifted. And I think that Billy Napier has a lot to do with that. I think DJ Lagway does too. But I think Billy Napier has a lot to do with that. Because instead of crumbling under pressure and just unraveling, falling apart, Florida embraced the adversity that they faced last year. And they used it to fuel them, to get better, to get 1% better every day, and to bring that group closer together. And that's exactly what they did. They went from playing very alienated at the beginning of the season last year to being a cohesive unit. And they played very together, I would say, in November. They went on that run. They beat LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State consecutively to end the season last year. And then took down Tulane convincingly in the Gasparilla Bowl. One of my favorite bowls, by the way. And that left Florida fans with not only a relieved feeling, but a feeling of excitement. Wow, we assembled a great run to end the season last year. That's great. But how can we use this to build into 2025? Well, that excitement takes the pressure off of Florida's coaching staff somewhat. And of course, I'll admit, if Florida goes 7-5 or 6-6, Billy Napier will likely be fired. But I just don't think that's going to be the case this year. There's enough urgency for Florida to feel a little extra motivated, but the pressure has been lifted enough to where it's not uncomfortably high, and the excitement provides a little more inspiration within the walls of the Florida Gators football program, and I can't wait to see what they do this year. Now, I mentioned him about a minute ago, and I'm going to highlight him again here. DJ Lagway. There's been a lot of hype and talk surrounding DJ Lagway going into the season. I mean, you saw that last week in the SEC Media Days. And it's warranted because he's going to have an incredible season. Just what a raw, natural talent DJ Lagway is. Absolute cannon of an arm. Accurate, but it's his versatility as a quarterback, too. His ability to escape the pocket. He's mobile. The angles at which he can complete throws. The way he makes reads. It's incredible. And I think he's going to have an amazing season this year. But I want to say that he's not going to be the focus of this video because there's been a lot of other personalities who have really hyped DJ Lagway up. And he is going to have a great year, but I don't want him to be overhyped. And I'm sure all of y'all Florida fans watching this video, you probably appreciate that. Because when you hype somebody up enough, the bar is up here, you have to deliver. So sometimes not overhyping can be a benefit. Instead, I want to shed some light on some other dogs on this Florida football team who I feel like aren't getting enough hype and aren't getting fair representation in the media. First off, I want to shed some light on freshman wide receiver Dallas Wilson. I think it's going to have an immediate impact on the flow and performance of this Florida offense. I think it's going to complement Eugene Wilson III, great, who I expect to have a much better year this year than he did last year as well. I think his chemistry with DJ Lagway is going to be incredible. But that duo of wide receivers is going to be great. Jaden Baugh, Florida's sophomore running back, who led the team in rushing yards last year. With Florida's offensive line, he's going to have a special season. And come October, November, you're going to know Jordan Ball's name as one of the best running backs in the SEC and maybe even college football overall. Book it. Mark my words. Edge rusher Tyreek Sapp. This guy's an animal. Does not get talked about enough outside of the Sunshine State. 46 total tackles last year and 7 sacks. And George Gums Jr., who had 35 tackles last year and 5 sacks. He's going to have an amazing year this year as well. And Florida's offensive line, like I just alluded to a couple seconds ago, it looks fantastic going into this year. DJ Lagway is going to get protection. Jordan Ball is going to get space to run, and those receivers are going to have time to run their routes completely and get open. PFF, and I don't trust PFF for everything, but there's certain things they do. They usually get offensive line rankings correct, and they have Florida's offensive line as the 4th best in the nation going into this year. And so I think that looks pretty convincing. I think that looks pretty promising for Florida, and this is going to be a great unit. It's going to have great chemistry this year. It's going to be well coached. A lot of dogs on Florida's offensive line. So protection will be there for the Gators. And you know one of our main mantras on this channel, success starts in the trenches. I also want to address the comments that I hear all the time about Florida's schedule. People always say, yeah, Florida's roster looks great. But that schedule, man, it's just going to limit them so much. Like, they're naturally going to lose 4 or 5 games. There's a lot of opponents that are better than them. Number one, as I've consumed and watched football more and more throughout the years, I've come to notice that strength of schedule, as it's measured in the months of June, July, and August, it can be a little inaccurate. It can be a little skewed. And so it's hard to really calculate strength of schedule until you see teams actually take the gridiron in late August. And what do they actually look like when talking season's done and it's the real deal? How do all of their units gel? What do injuries look like? What kind of dysfunctions going on within the organization? What kind of trends are going on with this team? You don't know that until you start the season. So it's tough to evaluate strength of schedule right now anyways. And I'll be honest, y'all, I think that Florida is better than most of their opponents this year. I really do. I think that they're going to outclass a lot of the teams that they play this year. Last year, I felt like, yeah, they're going to be outclassed by this team or outclassed by that team. This year, I think that the roster that Florida has put together here and just their mentality going into this season, I think they have an edge against most of their opponents this year. Now, of course, there's your Texases, there's your Georgias, there's your LSUs that Florida's facing. But I think most of their opponents, Florida has an edge against. Florida hosts Texas this year. That's huge. That environment, I'm telling you right now, is something that Texas is not used to. Going into the swamp, I think that's a very winnable game for the Gators. Flame me in the comments if you want. I think that is a winnable game for them. Going to LSU, going to Baton Rouge will be tough. But I don't think that Florida's completely outmatched by the Tigers. They beat Ole Miss last year. I think they can do it again this year. The over-under win total for Florida this year is strip disrespectful. 6.5 wins is what Vegas has given them. For all of y'all bettors out there that are watching this, hammer the over. Go on to FanDuel right now and hammer the over for Florida, 6.5 wins. Get the hell out of here. That team is absolutely going to win more than 6.5 games this year. Book it. And I'll make a short after this video just to promote that even more. But for all of you Gator fans out here, that is my honest, unfiltered take on the Florida Gators going into this season. I think it's going to be a successful season. 8, 9, maybe 10 wins. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Thank y'all for watching. Have a great day.